Hi, it's Caitlin, and today I'm here with a big swatch fest of KBShimmer polishes. All of the polishes that I'm showing you today were sent to me by Harlow Co, which you've probably heard me mention before. They are an online indie nail polish stockist. They ship to Canada. They're based in Canada, which is why I love to shop Harlow Co. You get free shipping over orders of $100. They also ship to the US and there's free shipping when you spend $100. And they also ship pretty much everywhere in the world except a handful of countries. And you can get free shipping internationally when you spend $200. So I will link their shop down in the description. And I have the spring 2023 collection from KBShimmer called Plant One On Me. And then I have their summer 2023 collection, which is Sugar Rush. And as a sugar junkie, I'm just like very into that collection. So I guess that's it from me. Let's get into the swatches. We're going to begin with the Sugar Rush collection. And first up we have Pucker Up, which is an ode to sour candy. And this one is described as a luminous chartreuse leaning yellow neon polish. And it says it has strong coppery orange to lime shimmer and micro hollow bits. So when you're in lower lighting, it will amp up the green hue, and there will be a really obvious peach, yellow, and gold in brighter lighting. So this polish has a really good formula. It's really easy to work with, and I will recommend building it up in 3 coats. It is on the sheerer side, but it does build up nicely in 3, and the shimmer is quite strong, so it will distract well from the nail line. And hopefully you can already get a sense of how strong the shimmer is. It is definitely strong, and the hollow in there is nice and just the right density that it just sort of gives a twinkle overall without overpowering the polish. And you can also see it dries relatively shiny, but I will still recommend top coat. I'm using the Cuticula Limitless Top Coat. So here you can see it in 3 coats plus top coat. I like how twinkly the hollow is. And here you're gonna see the different color shifts a little more obviously when I start moving my hand around. The green shift is there. It's not super obvious, so the majority of the time it's looking sort of coppery orangey red. Next up is You Want a Peach of Me, which is a great name because it's a bit of a tribute to Britney Spears and also Fuzzy Peaches or Peach Rings, I guess. I don't know which one's more popular or common, but when I think of peach candy, I think of Fuzzy Peaches. And this one is described as a radiant peach nail polish with an ultra shifty shimmer. So it has gold and orange shifts as well as red and pink tones and some copper. And there are also hollow glow flakes to add a metallic sparkle and holographic twinkle. So this one I did find to be good in 2 coats, which is also what KBShimmer suggests on their website. And I will recommend top coat, even though it dries pretty glossy. This one does have a really pretty pinkiness to it. It's more of a pinky peach than an orangey peach. And here you can see just how it shifts around. It definitely looks more peachy sort of in this lower lighting, and then you're getting that golden kind of copper shift, which is really nice, and pink at the more extreme angles. And these are described as hollow glow flakes, which means I guess they're not exclusively holographic. They're more of like a metallic-y finish, which is true, but it also does have a bit of sparkle when the sun hits them. Here we have Any Way You Slice It, and this one is apparently inspired by the most common candy in grandparents' homes, which is that sort of candy jar they seem to have. My grandparents didn't have this, but it seems like something a lot of people collectively have experienced, with like a little glass jar and then there's some candies inside. So this one is inspired by those sugar-coated orange slices, and it's described as a bold orange shimmer. It twinkles and shows off gold and yellow hues, and then in lower lighting you get more intense shimmer, and you can even get a bit of lime at really extreme angles. So this one they recommend in 2 coats, which is what I did, but honestly, I feel like I probably should have gone in for a 3rd. It didn't come off as vibrant and orange as some of the photos on the KBShimmer website. So next time I would try it with 3 coats, but it is a nice orangey shade and you can see a lot of shifts in it, and I will recommend Glossy Top Coat as you saw me apply. And here it definitely has that golden hue to it. There's that added orange shift to it, which is always fun. It just sort of intensifies the polish overall. And I also see some red at certain angles, and I did capture the green at very extreme angles. So again, I'm loving oranges right now, and I think this is a really beautiful orange polish. Moving along, we have That's Just Grape, and this one is inspired by any sort of grape candy, which is always a favorite. Personally, I'm not too into grape flavored things for whatever reason, but this is a really beautiful indigo that has micro flake-like color shifting shimmer in purple, and at more extreme angles you see blue and fuchsia. This one's also recommended in 2 coats, but I thought it needed 3, which is funny because usually I tend to like things on the sheer side, but I felt like this one needed a 3rd coat to intensify the base color. And for a grape inspired polish, this one definitely leans a bit more blue in my opinion. It does have purpley shifts when you see me moving my hand around shortly, but overall it kind of comes off more as a blue than a purple. And it is described as an indigo, which is somewhere between the 2. I will recommend Glossy Top Coat for this one just to make it as shiny as possible. And this one, none of these polish cause staining. KBShimmer has an amazing formula. This one's pigmented, but definitely no risk of staining with this one because it is microflakes. And here you can hopefully see what I mean about the more purple shifts at extreme angles. It is really beautiful and quite unique actually in my collection. So if you're a fan of indigos or blues, this one has a really nice glow to it, as you can hopefully see. And it has a fantastic formula, so I think this is a great polish, a grape polish. Here's another purple in the collection. This one is such a Smartie, and this one is inspired by Smarties, which in the US are different than Smarties in Canada. So in the US, they're little pastel candy wafers wrapped in cellophane, but in Canada, Smarties are chocolate coated, or no, they're pieces of chocolate coated in candy, kind of like an M&M, but bigger and not as good. And then what Americans call Smarties, we call Rockets, and there's actually a factory very close to my house. So this polish is a faded purple loaded with color shifting shimmer and linear holographic sparkle. This one has a whole bunch of different hues in it depending on how you catch it and what lighting, which I will show off shortly. It also had a fantastic formula. It built up beautifully in 2 coats. And there is a ton of hollow sparkle in this one, which I loved to see on my nail. And here you can see there's green, there's gold, there's I would say sort of like a bluey aqua shift. Hopefully you're seeing that. This one has a ton of color shifts. There's even like, I don't know, would you call it? Yeah, I guess it's like a lime green at more extreme angles as you're seeing. It just has a ton of shifts, and in addition to the linear hollow, it's kind of got it all going on, and I think this is a really beautiful polish, and it's kind of unique in my collection as well. Here we have Put a Ring on It, and this one is inspired by ring pops, which definitely had a moment there, and maybe, I think they came back not that long ago, or at least became popular again. And this one is described as a vibrant teal leaning blue. It has glowy holographic flakes, and there's some blue and aqua shimmer that also helps to bring out purple in different lighting. And this one has a really good formula. It built up really easily. Again, I would recommend 3 coats just to get it fully opaque looking and build it up to look more like what you're seeing in the bottle. It does dry down just a tiny bit dull, so I'll recommend glossy top coat. And I did really like this color. It's a really fun shade of, I guess, what is it described as? Yeah, like a tealy blue. I love those kinds of colors. I think they're really vibrant. And hopefully here you can see the shifts that are being described in the polish. There's definitely a deeper blue shift, an indigo, a purple. This one is really vibrant. If you're looking for like a bold color for your nails, this is very bold. And again, it was another day where there wasn't sun, and unfortunately I couldn't show off the hollow very well, but it is there. Moving along, we have Cool Beans, and Cool Beans is described as a nod to jelly beans, which I love. I think Cool Beans is a really cute name for this polish. And it's described as a blueberry colored base loaded with a striking shifty shimmer. It has a strong green flash. It also has teal, gold, blue, and peach. And this has a slightly larger shimmer particle, so it adds a subtle sparkle, which I love so much. And this one, I was happy with it in 2 coats, but depending on your polishing style, you might want 3 just to intensify everything. And it dries down pretty shiny, but this is definitely one where you want glossy top coat to just make everything sparkle as much as possible. And as you're going to see in a second, this one is very, very, very shifty. So there's a ton of green in this polish. The gold is really obvious. The blue shifts are definitely there. This one is absolutely stunning. I couldn't stop showing it off. I think it's beautiful. And if you're into sort of a foily finish, this one is definitely going to be for you. It's so vibrant. Honestly, this one is a ton of fun. It's another very obvious, very loud nail polish choice, which I'm always here for. And I do like the sparkly effect of the larger particle shimmer. And here we have Feeling Good. Feeling Good is described as a boldly colored pink reflective polish. It has reflective pigment, and this one is inspired by basically any sweet candies that make people feel good. So I think candy makes me feel good most of the time if I don't eat too much. I love sugar. It gives me the serotonin that I'm always looking for. So this one has a good formula. It's a reflective polish, so it is like really gritty up when you apply it onto the nail, but it does smooth out with a glitter smoothing top coat. This one, I didn't show you the 2 layers of top coat, but I would recommend a glitter smoothing top coat and then a layer of a quick dry top coat over that, just to give you the smoothest possible finish. And this one is very reflective, very twinkly, very sparkly. It's not overly pink on me. I would say it's more of a like red shade, like a rosy shade. So I think some of the pictures on the KBShimmer website make it look super pink, but that wasn't what I was seeing. What you're seeing on camera is how it appeared on me. And again, this one is super twinkly because of those reflective glitters. As you can see, I don't have the flash on or anything, and those reflective glitters are definitely picking up the light. And here it is with my camera flash. It looks wild like this, but it will really only look like that under the camera flash. And here we have Pull It Together, which is the last one in the Sugar Rush collection. This one's inspired by saltwater taffy, which I have never had. And this one is described as a vibrant green with reflective pigment in it. So this one kind of looks almost neon green when you've got it under your camera flash, but overall it's sort of a pretty grassy green. And this one, I don't know if it has any base color. It's kind of interesting. It looked almost clear, and I'm not sure if the color comes exclusively from the reflective glitters in there or what, but it also kind of looked cool if you left it without top coat as I just showed it, but if you put top coat on, it's obviously going to give a smoother finish. So here it is without any sort of camera flash, and it's definitely twinkly. It's a nice green, and I think everybody knows that I'm not a huge fan of just straight reflective polishes like this, but this one is fun. It looks super cool under the camera flash here, but again, it doesn't actually look like that to the human eye. And now we're moving into the spring collection. So this first one is called So Impatiens, and Impatiens are sort of some of the earliest flowers that come up in the spring, and this one is described as a vibrant and punchy pink shade loaded with shifty shimmer and hollow glow flakes. Lower lighting will bring out hints of orange, red, and gold, and it can make the magenta appear more coral. So this one they recommend 2 to 3 coats, and I was happy with it in 2. It covered well on my nail. It's a really pretty shade of pink. And it does have like a bit of a foily finish on this one. I will recommend a glossy top coat to bring out the shine. And you're going to see in a second how shifty this one is. It is a really pretty pink. It's a very soft shade. It's a little peachy. And you can see there definitely is orange and pink and a more magenta vibe to it at the more extreme distant angles. So this one is really pretty, and I was impressed by how shifty it was. It also sort of gave off a bit of green at extreme angles, and then it's a softer, more neutral pink when you're out of any sort of lighting source. And there was a tiny bit of sun to show off the hollow. Here we have Daffodil With It, and this one is obviously inspired by daffodils, which I love. They're beautiful. Yellow flowers are absolutely gorgeous. And this one is described as a vibrant yellow linear holographic polish, and the joyful hue is supposed to mimic the early spring daffodils, which this definitely makes me happy. So this has a fantastic formula. I found that it built up really nicely and easily. It dries quickly in between coats, and it is very linear in its appearance. I only needed 2 coats, and as with all linear holographic polishes, you do want it to dry down fully to get the most holographic effect to it. So I let it dry down fully, and here you can see just how rainbowy it is. It is a very strong linear hollow effect, which I'm always happy to see. And here it is. Even when you're not in sunlight, which always gives off the best holographic effect, it's definitely got rainbows and a very strong linear hollow flame, which I just love. Again, I think it was either early morning sun I had here or something, but it just didn't show off the hollow as much as it's there. It really is strong. Here we have Lilac It or Not, and this one is inspired by lilacs, which are probably one of my favorite trees. I mean, I just love nature, but lilacs are very, very special, and I think they're beautiful. They're just so perfect. They smell so good. It's like one of my favorite scents. So this one is a polish paying homage to aromatic blossoms, and it's a cool blue base, which offers a beautiful bed for hollow glow flakes to twinkle and shine. And there's sort of purple and lavender hues depending on what lighting you catch it in. So this one, I thought it built up well in 2 coats, and I will recommend top coat just to smooth and shine everything out. I guess when I think of lilacs, I think of more purple, and this is a little more on the blue side. It's a beautiful color. I don't have any complaints, but for some reason that was just in my mind when I saw this polish. And this one is really pretty. You do get that purple at the more extreme angles here, as you can see. It's a pretty unique shade of blue in my collection. It's just a really glowy shade, even though it's on the lighter side, and I do really, really like it. And I really like lilacs. We have some beautiful ones in my garden, and I'm already imagining their scent that I will smell a year from now when they're blooming again. Here we have Before An Aster, and this one is inspired by asters, which are usually like, I don't know, they're kind of more like a wildflower. They're nothing exceptional. They don't require a ton of work to grow, and I think they're beautiful and perfect. So they're also sometimes kind of spiky, which I like. So this one is described as a deep cornflower blue leaning periwinkle. It's loaded with hollow glow flakes, and it brings out a rainbow of different shifts and pink shimmer depending on the lighting that you catch it in. I thought this one had a really good formula in 2 coats. It covered well. It does dry down just a tiny bit dull, so I'll recommend top coat. And this one is very strong with that pink shimmer. It's really obvious here, as you can already see. But when you start moving your hand around, you're going to see more of the copper, green, and gold shifts, which are just gorgeous. So hopefully you're catching those. The green is subtle, but it's definitely there. And it is just a really pretty shade of that sort of periwinkle, purple blurple. And now we're moving on to Simply Iris-istible. This one is inspired by irises, which are another beautiful flower. This one is described as a muted royal purple loaded with glowing hollow flakes. It also has a beautiful rainbow of shifts in it. You get dusty rose, copper, gold, green, and blue. And this one covers really well in 2 coats. It was pretty much opaque in 2. I don't think many people would need more than that. And this one, because of the shimmer particle size and the hollow particle size, it just is a lot of visual interest. As you can see here, the light kind of hits it so that you're seeing a whole bunch of colors, even in this direct lighting, which is always nice. And immediately I'm seeing the green, the gold, the blue, the purple. This one has a very strong and easy shift to it, which is always fun because sometimes you just want to see all the colors at once, and this one shows them off really, really easily. It's almost a neutral on me when you're out of direct lighting. So it's just a really interesting base shade, and I love all of the color shifts in here, as I've already said like 5 times. Here we have That's Ranunculus, and this one is, I've already said that I love so many different colors and flowers, but Ranunculus are one of my absolute flavors, are one of my absolute favorite flowers. And yeah, I think if I had to pick my favorite, it would probably be Ranunculus. They're just so beautiful. And this one is a vibrant orange, burnt orange base color with sparks of red, magenta, and tangerine in reflective glitters. So this one covers really well in 2 coats. It does have a beautiful sort of fall vibe to it, which is interesting because it's in a spring collection, but don't have to apply those rules to everything. This is going to be good for a whole bunch of times during the year. You don't have to just wear it in spring, obviously. You can wear whatever color whenever you want. This would also be a really good polish to use a glitter top coat and then a quick dry top coat over that to get the smoothest finish, like you're seeing here. This one is just so shifty and pretty. I like that golden shift you get in more extreme lighting. The reflective glitter twinkle really nicely, as you can see here in the sun. This is just such a pretty shade. I'm getting tongue-tied over it apparently, but it definitely is feeling like one I'm going to pull out soon for fall because it's just giving fall vibes to me. Here we have Change of Plants, and Change of Plants is just inspired by going out to the garden, getting your hands dirty, and making things beautiful, which is what I spend a lot of time doing. I spent a lot of time this past weekend doing. And this one echoes the rows of bright green leaves that you get in a garden. And it is a shimmery base, which shows off lemon yellow, gold, lime, and leaf green. It also has a hint of micro holographic glitter to add a dew-like twinkle, sort of like the freshly watered plants catching the sunlight, which I love. That is so poetic and beautiful. So this polish covers really well in 2 coats. You might need 3 depending on your polishing style, but I was happy with it in 2. I also thought it was interesting that it appears a lot lighter on the nail than it did in the bottle. I personally really like it. It kind of reminds me of a Chanel polish from many years ago. Peridot, however you want to pronounce it. This one is super glowy. I like the green you get at extreme angles, and the little hollow bits in there give it a nice twinkle, like the dew in a garden, which is just so beautiful and pretty. I'm looking out at my garden right now, and it's so green and beautiful. I just love summertime. This polish definitely looks like my garden, so this polish is for you, garden. And here we have Spring Theory, which is just sort of inspired by the hope of blooms popping through the snow when spring comes. And this one is just a really, really cute crelly. It starts with a snowy white crelly base, which is very beautiful because I love when you see little blooms popping up through snowy patches. And there are tiny glitters in here in purple, blue, yellow, green, and pink, which represent the flowers. And as you can see, this has a fantastic formula. It covers so nicely in 2 coats. I really like it in 2. If you wanted more glitters, you might decide to build it up in 3, but honestly, 2 is where it's at. So I will also recommend a glitter grabber top coat and then a quick dry top coat if you want the smoothest possible finish, but I just went quickly with 1 layer of glossy top coat. It'll be a tiny bit difficult to remove because of the glitters in there, but not too bad because they're not huge and there aren't too many of them. So as you can see, this is just a really sweet white crelly. You can never have too many of these. I like the colors in here. It's just fun. And last but not least, we have Ultra Violet. And I like the description for this one. It says, when the weather warms up and grass ends its dormancy, lawns across the nation perk up. In some states, so do tiny purple violets that litter the lawn, which is so beautiful. Also in Canada, we get that. So this one is a purple reflective shade, which is boldly colored, and in low light, the purple reflective glitters subtly twinkle, and in brighter light, the purple reflective glitters burst forward, giving off a very ultraviolet hue. So this one is a beautiful shade of purple. I just felt it needed a 3rd coat to even everything out, and this one is a reflective glitter, so it's going to be very textured when it dries down. It'll be a little difficult to remove, not impossible, but I will recommend a glitter top coat and then a quick dry top coat over that. I didn't want to bore you with it, so I'm just showing 1 layer of top coat, but if you're planning on wearing this, it is very thirsty, so you'll want the 2 layers of top coat. And here you can see there's like silver reflective glitter and purple reflective glitter, which creates a beautiful finish, as you can see here with my camera flash. This one is like dancing on my nail. And here it is without the camera flash, which is more representative of how you're going to see it most of the time when you're wearing it. It's beautiful. It's a really pretty shade of purple, and those reflective glitters are very twinkly. Here you can see them in the sun without flash. This is just like natural lighting. They're very twinkly and very pretty, and I love violets. So as I mentioned in the intro, I do love sugar, and I thought for some reason that the Sugar Rush collection would really capture my heart, and I did like it, but I only have 1 real favorite from that collection that I really liked, and that's such a Smartie, which I remember Rachel from Polish with Ray showing off on Instagram and gushing about how much she loved it, and I totally understand why. It is gorgeous. But I did really like the Plant One On Me collection, and my 2 favorites from that are Daffodil With It, because I love yellow and I love a really good linear hollow, and that one is super hollow. I just want to wear it every day. And I also love Change of Plants because it kind of surprised me. It's like soft but very extreme with its shifts, and then there's of course hollow in there. Let me know in the comments if you've already picked up most of these polishes. Let me know if I've convinced you to pick up any of the ones you didn't grab, and have a great day wherever you are. Bye.